Hello, Kent Philpott again. This is program number 6 in our series on Santeria, from slavery to slavery. We've been talking about the 4 essential rituals or rites of Santeria. We talked about elekes, the necklaces, and elgua. And now we're going to talk about receiving the warriors or the guerreros. This is the third in a series of initiations, ceremonies that a person goes through. And this is number 3. There's one more called the asiento we'll get to at the end of this video. The warriors or guerreros in Spanish are given by Babaloa or Padrino, the santero or priest who officiates and orchestrates the initiations. The warrior orishas are Elgua, Ogun, Bolsun, and Osi. The Iwao now, or the bride, the person who was going through the ceremony, now has the protection of the Elgua at this stage, but the protection of the other orishas named is also needed. This overall protection is for battle with enemies, both physical and spiritual. A distinction in function and power is made between the elekes and the warriors. The elekes are supposed to be for defensive protection, while the warriors are offensive and attack any who try to do harm. Now, how is all of this known? How can we bank on this? Is this for sure? Just because people have their traditions are very old, very ancient, and have the witnesses who will swear by how wonderful they are, how completely effective they are, is really not much of anything. It's what they say, but well, it doesn't necessarily prove anything. Now, the last one and the most important one. That is called making saint, or the asiento, or the seating. The seating. Members of Santeria will have a pot, a crock, or other receptacle in their house containing the otane stones collected by means of hearing the voices of the ruling orishas. Now, these otane stones, they're in a sense, the stones are in a sense the orishas, and have within them the ashi of the orishas. This is beyond magic that most people are aware of. The stones are collected in different places, maybe at the seashore, maybe in a mountain, maybe in a valley, someplace in a desert. These stones, the person who collects them is somebody who's going to be initiated, and it's as though the stone calls out to them. That's sort of the idea, and they collect it. And the stones are put in this pot. This piece of crockery could be metal, wood, stone. And the otanes, the stones are put in there. And the stones are the orishas. And the orishas are fed through the stones. They are washed and oiled, bathed in the blood of animals that are sprinkled on them. And the ashi stored in the stones, then, by the feeding, is available for the orishas to then use to assist those living in the house. In the asiento, the ascending the throne or making orisha, the identity of which is determined by the babalo'o by means of divination, is seated or mounted on or in the head of the Iwao. When this occurs, after a many days long elaborate ritual, the Iwao may be said to be born again, interesting, into the faith of Santeria. Miguel A. de la Torre has this interesting description of what happens in the asiento. Prior to the ritual, the individual is considered impure and is therefore required to die to their old self. The ritual is a process of purification and divination, whereby the convert becomes like a newborn, even to the point of having to be bathed and fed like a baby. They are taught the secrets and rites of their God. They learn how to speak through the oracles, that is the object of divination, and they are resurrected to a new life in which they can unite their consciences with their God. From the moment of the asiento, the convert begins a new life of deeper growth within the faith. End of quote. You can see the borrowing. You can see the borrowing here directly from Christians and especially from the Bible. It is as though it were a counterfeit. The same wording is taken out and placed into an absolutely different worldview. Now, the head of the individual, the Iwao, is sought to be like a stone, and it is in stones, the otanes, where the orishas live, and their ashi is stored. So you got the orishas in the stone, and also you got the orishas mounted in the head. The head is like a stone, so it has to do with these gods and goddesses possessing the stones and possessing the head of the individual. A metaphor may be helpful. The stones are like a bank where deposits and withdrawals are made, in this case of ashi. It is said that the Iwao is crowned with the orisha. The idea of possession comes close to describing the result of the asiento, since the orisha is said to be in the head of the Iwao. Again, a quote from De La Torre is helpful in making it clear what the asiento is. Quote, "The purpose of this ritual is to condition the person's mind and body so that all of the supernatural powers of the orisha can be invested on the one being ordained, thus allowing him or her literally to become the orisha. This ceremony, which requires at least 16 santeros or santeras as witnesses, is also known as the asiento. Asiento, the Spanish word for seat, refers to the way in which an orisha mounts the one being ordained. To be mounted by an orisha means to be spiritually possessed. And that's why I call this from slavery to slavery. Admitted there is a possession that takes place. But what is the orisha? What if the orisha is an unclean spirit, like I am convinced that they are? And that's where I pick up the title for the essay, From Slavery to Slavery. The Iwao is ordained, or the Iwao ordained one must observe special conditions for a period of 1 year, one of which is to abstain from sexual activity for that period. The relationship, quote, between human and orisha can be seen as a sexual one, says De La Torre. Let me go back to that quote. May be seen as a sexual one, a mystical union in which the orishas are inside their brides. They descend and mount their devotees. The orisha is said to take over the consciousness of the Iwao, and anything said by the person is now considered the direct revelation of the orisha. So the santero, the santera, the babaloa, they are considered, when they speak, the very words of the gods and goddesses. Male and female identities may be blurred as, quote, male orishas spiritually possess female bodies and vice versa. So you see this pseudo-sexual kind of metaphors, but maybe not so metaphorical as it might seem. But the secrets that Santeria is kept in, if we were to know the secrets, there might be more to that. Again from De La Torre, quote, while mounted, the possessed person can predict the future, provide advice, see activities occurring elsewhere, or do anything else capricious gods feel like doing. In addition to the orisha, the Iwao is also said to be inhabited in the head by an Eleda, which is said to be a guardian angel. And that's also, the Iguns are also going to be involved, so there's quite a lot of possessing going on. Making the saint is neither simple nor inexpensive. The ordination process may require as many as 3 years, although I think it's been dumbed down in Western cultures. Though a more contemporary dumbed down version, like I mentioned, is far shorter, but the fee, the derecho, may be as much as $5,000, and some has paid as much as $45,000, and I read in Raul Canizares' book, could be as high as $50,000. During the feast that follows the Asiento, the Iwao is said to be possessed for the first time by the Orisha, and at that point a guinea hen's head is removed and the blood is drunk by the Iyawo. For a year following the ordination or Asiento, the Iyawo learns from their padrino and madrina the fine points of Santeria, including the means of fortune telling and how to communicate with the dead. That is the end of program number 6.